What is up, everybody? We are back with another episode of Who God Created, the podcast. As I say every week, y'all, I am super excited to be back here another day, another slay, another day. Okay, period. But how y'all doing this week? Did y'all have a good week? Honestly speaking, from last week to this week, I've had an amazing week. I uploaded my first episode, my first vlog on YouTube since December. I have not uploaded a vlog since December, so that was fun to sit and edit. That was the first time I actually spent that much time editing, so I'm super duper proud of myself. Just seeing how far I've come and how I've gotten not immune to obstacles, but I've gotten to the point where I realize that obstacles are a part of life and there's really nothing that you can do about it. It's just about how you respond. Now, some obstacles, of course, we bring onto ourselves, but overall, for the most part, life is going to be a continuous path of obstacles that will be in your way, and it's up to you to determine how you move about with those obstacles. So that's where I am this week, you guys. I really just wanted to come on here and just talk to you guys about where I am. As I say in every episode, I've been saying in the last couple of episodes, is I set intentions for every single week, and it's very important for me to set these intentions because honestly, even when I write them down and set it and forget it, I promise y'all, for some reason, my week always aligns with the intentions that I set for that actual week. So I haven't set my intentions for this week because I don't really know where I want my week to go. Honestly, so many things could happen. We're about to end off the month, so I really just want to end off the month strong. I hope that June was a great month for you guys. I think June was a pretty pivotal month for me as far as me actually taking action on the things that I've been talking about for months now. So I'm very proud. Clap for myself for that. So I'm super proud of that I was able to do that. So moving into July, I think the motivation is really just going to be to continue to do that and be a little bit more intentional about how I go about my goals in July, because I want July, really this summer is really, I've been saying since the beginning of the year that I feel like this summer is going to be the greatest summer ever. And did I think that it was going to be the greatest summer ever for the reasons that it is now actually going to be a good summer? Absolutely not. I thought everything was going to look different, but you never know what God do. You know, I was listening to this song by Elevation Worship yesterday, and it's called More Than Able, and Chandler Moore is on that song, and it's just talking about like, how dare I think that God can't do more. Just because I have not seen it, I personally have not seen it in my life, does not mean that he cannot do it. You know, just because you haven't seen, you know, yourself with peace, or you've never had the love that you desire in this life, or that you know that you can have, but you have actually never had it, never seen it, that doesn't mean that you cannot have it, right? That just means that God is still working on it. He's still working on you. He's putting the pieces of the puzzle together for you to get to the place that you need to be in order to receive that love and receive that peace and receive that new job, or receive going into your purpose and walking into your purpose. That there is a person that you have to become at every level and every season of your life, and every season is going to require a different version of you. Does that mean that you have to be black and white, or you have to be a completely different person? Because at the core of you, who God created you to be is the same. Like, it's the same. When you was popped out of the womb, before you was even popped out of the womb, you were who God created you to be. Unfortunately, life has, well, not unfortunately, because fortunately, you just go through life is learning who God created you to be and stepping into that. So yeah, that's really where I am in life right now, is just really just loving myself. I'm at a space in my life where I truly do love who I am. And I'm learning that I can love who I am, but also have things that I need to work on as well. Like, that is okay for you to love yourself, but also have things that you need to change. Like, I look at myself, or I just really think about who I am in this moment. And I'm like, I am so proud of where you are right now, even though you still have a lot more to learn. Have come so far from where you were before, where you were a year ago, where you were a month ago, where you were years ago, honestly. And so I'm in a space of just loving me and not being afraid of the unknown. I think the unknown used to cripple me, and that's honestly the reason why I decided to give my life back to God, is because I was literally crippled with anxiety, with fear of what the unknown was. Like, it definitely was crippling me so bad, to the point where it's like, I can't even do this by myself no more. And so to see that is the reason why I gave my life to God. And that's one of the biggest things that he's worked on within this year or 2 years that almost 2 years that I have given my life to him, is just amazing to see. Like, God will truly do a number on you, and you just have to allow him to do that and just be content in every season. And that's one thing I did not feel like was possible. I because in the Bible it says to be content in every season. And I wanted to bring up a specific Bible verse that God was showing me specifically in a time of my life where I was going through the greatest trials that I felt like I've ever been through in life. Like, I felt like I was a failure. I felt like I just wasn't making the right decisions. In my head, I was lonely. I was feeling defeated. It was just a lot. I felt like I couldn't trust myself. It was a lot that I was going through in the physical, spiritually. I just felt like I was going through everything at once, and my world came crumbling down. Like, 2022 was definitely a humbling year, and I believe it did set me up for this year. Like, I went through a lot in 2022, and one thing that God will always bring me to, and it was this couple of weeks to a month that someone would literally say this Bible verse to me, send it to me. I would see it everywhere. I literally flipped to the Bible one day and read it. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'm showing my Bible right now, so y'all can see, like, I've highlighted, circled everything. Like, this part of my Bible is probably one of the most highlighted parts of my Bible, because in a time where I needed it, it was there. God was there. Okay. So James 1:2 says, "Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, and let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. Okay. Then skipping down, it says to James, chapter 1, verse 12, it says, "Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial. For when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him." So if we really break down just the words, because one thing about it is that I am somebody that is really big on words. Like, I don't allow people to just say anything around me. I don't allow people to speak things on me, because words are powerful. It says it in the Bible that the power of life and death lies in the tongue. And even you'll hear it even outside of the Bible. Self-help books say it all the time. Literally, in the Bible, it says the power of life and death is in your tongue. So you have to be careful with words. But if we go, and it says the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. What is steadfastness? Dutifully firm and unwavering. Okay. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing, literally lacking in nothing. So the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because literally on the outside looking in, based on world views, I probably should be the most depressed that I've ever been. I probably should be sad. I probably should look at myself like I'm a failure. That's the mindset that I should be in. And I was in that mindset when I started to lose everything that I valued, that I felt like gave me value, aka materialistic things. And when I tell y'all, God strips every single thing away from me to humble me, to show me that, listen, if you continue to place your value in this, I'm about to show you that all these things that you place value in can be gone. And he wiped them away from me. Now, in that moment when those things started dropping off, I'm like, what in the world is happening? Like, I feel like that everything that's valuable to me is gone. Like, I feel like a loser. I feel like a bum. I feel like this. Like, I just feel like there's nothing for me to live for. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that dramatic, but still, and in some moments I really felt like, what am I doing here? Like, I feel like I'm failing at life. And it wasn't until God starts to strip away. First thing that went away was my car. We just have to take a moment of silence for the car, because the first thing that went away was my car, y'all. Like, my car was my first big girl purchase. Like, I got that car, I had it, and my car was my everything. I ain't gonna lie, because I'm someone that likes to drive. What I was doing for money was doing Uber Eats. So it was like my car was my world at that time, because it was the way that I was making money, because I didn't have a job. Now, car gets stolen. Boom. I haven't had my car. This was in December. I haven't had the car since December. June, this is when they tell me, oh, your car has been totaled out. We're going to have to pay the money. I was grateful for it, because that means I ain't have to pay no money on the car no more. I don't have to pay no car insurance, whatever. Car gone. I'm living in Houston. I get to the point where I can't afford the apartment, because I'm not making no money, because I wasn't making as much money. Like, the season of doing Uber Eats started slowing down for whatever reason. I went from making like $2,500 to $3,000 a month on Uber Eats to literally that getting cut in half. And then my car got stolen. So that was like, okay, so I had to move out of Houston. I lost the apartment. I lost me living this dream of moving out of Georgia and just pursuing my dreams in another space, just being in another space, and had to come back to the house that I grew up in and be around family and be just in an environment that I grew up in. And that is when I realized that, listen, I can look at this as the world has taught me to look at things. That the world, unfortunately, I don't care what nobody says. The world has conditioned us to think that the value of money is our value. That's not your value. That's why you'll see people that are really rich that feel still unhappy or feel incomplete, because they placed all of their value, or felt like their value was in these things. Or people will have it all and lose it and go absolutely crazy because their value was in the money. And I was conditioned to feel like my value was in money and having things, and I never was like that. It just, in the 2 years that I was doing this thing, and the people that know what this thing is, I was doing this thing where it was really money driven. Before that, I was never somebody that was money driven. I was like, I want to be rich, but I'm not that pressed to be rich. Like, I wasn't really pressed or didn't see my value in it. Like, I don't know what I saw my value in at that time. Before then, I guess I didn't see where my value was. And so I feel like at that time, my value just became what I was around, just money. Everybody putting emphasis on money. You need to have a chain. You need to look this way. You need to have designer clothes. People need to see what you're doing. People need to see how you making money. Da 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 da. And that was my life for 2 whole years. So I started to be conditioned. And then on top of that, social media showing like, okay, if you ain't got money, like, I'm 21, I'm 30, I'm 24, I got this going on, I got this going on. It conditions you to feel like if you don't have that going on, then something is wrong with you. And so after being stripped of that and realizing and going through that phase as it was being stripped, that I felt like a failure. Once I lost it all, y'all, I realized that the whole time I still had some sort of peace. And I say some sort of peace because I wasn't, my spirit wasn't peaceful, but God kept me in in one piece. And what I mean by that is that it would be times where I was in my bathroom bawling, crying, like kneeling down on the floor, begging God, like, God, please, like, I need you to do something about this. Like, why are you leaving me out here? You see what I'm going through, and you're still just leaving me to fend for myself. And I don't like that. Like, I was angry with God at some point, and I had to realize, like, wait a minute. Once I got out of that situation, God showed me I was there the whole time. I was there the entire time. I was your firm foundation. I am the reason why you're still standing and can even tell the story to begin with. Because if my hand wasn't on you, you would have lost your mind. If my hand wasn't on you, you probably would just not even be here, to be completely honest, because that's how much I value having money, having nice things. And it wasn't until I came back from Houston and had a moment to slow down. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I am a huge nature person. Okay. Now this connects to the story. I'm a huge nature person, and I literally got back, slowed down, and when I heard the birds, I'm like, I'm hearing the birds and just the sounds of just being in the country. I don't live in the country, but I live kind of in the country. So it's like hearing the birds and just hearing the sounds of nature again. Because going from the city where I'm hearing the train all the time to literally coming back to the country where it's like literally nothing going on out here. I'm like, I had a moment to slow down and really think and reflect. I'm like, wait a minute. So from February until now, God has really just been showing me how to appreciate life and the things to appreciate, because to be completely honest, God could care less about money. Our riches on earth are not going to go with us to heaven. They're not. Okay. And when I say stuff like that, I'm not saying that I don't care about having money or I want to be poor or whatever the case may be, because that is not the case at all. I understand that God does exceedingly and abundantly. And if I seek first the kingdom of God, then all things will be added on to me. But the Bible says, seek first the kingdom of God and all things will be added on to you. Meaning seek God's heart, seek who God is, get to know who God is. And then through that process, you will be transformed through the renewal of your mind, and all things will start to be added on to you, because that's not where you're focused. You're focused on God, the person that can provide all of those things for you. And because he can provide all of those things for you, he's going to give you the strategy. He's going to give you the steps, because the steps are already ordered. You just have to believe and receive that God is going to do it for you. And that is how you can count it all joy. That is how you can have joy and be content in every season, is understanding right now may not be where I want to be in life. It may not be my end all be all, but I can have happiness because I have a sound mind. I can have joy because I have peace. I can have joy because I have a place to live, or I have food to eat, or I may not have the friends that I want, but I have one or two friends that I can call on. Or you may not have no friends at all, but you can call on Jesus. Something about the name Jesus. I'm trying to tell you. I'm telling you guys this because I know it's possible. And it was at one point where I felt like people that said that they were happy or said that they could be content in every season, I felt like they were lying. I'm like, y'all are bold-faced liars. Y'all are liars. Until God set me free. He set me free from everything that I felt like I had value in. And I realized that my value is in God. My value is not determined by how good somebody thinks I am at speaking, or it's not valued at how good somebody thinks I look, or how somebody thinks that I am, or whatever. Because if I have a fear of man, then I put the fear of man over the fear of God, and that's never going to be the case. That's never going to be the case for me to intentionally do that. Now, you may do it here and there. I'm not saying I don't do it in life in general, because I catch myself doing it. Nobody's perfect, but overall, the fear of God goes first. The fear of God goes first, meaning that fear of God is just like having that reverence for God. When God tells you to do something, do it. You may have fear, but do it scared. Do it joyfully, because God gave us this life. Jesus came to give us life and give it to us abundantly, meaning not only abundantly in riches and and material things, but also, and first and foremost, in joy and peace, for you to enjoy life. That is your portion. Your portion is to enjoy life. Your portion is not depression. Your portion is not anxiety. Your portion is not to be stressed. Even when the bills is due, that does not mean you have to be stressed, because if you understand that Jehovah Jireh, my provider, come on now, Jehovah Jireh is your provider. Jireh, you are enough. Can y'all tell I'm a singer? Because at this point I am. But I'm telling you guys this because I've experienced it. I've experienced what it felt like to have everything that I place value in taken away from me, and to understand that the real value is in God. And because I place my value in God, I now have joy and peace in my heart. And because I have joy and peace in my heart, I can now think clearly to go about my purpose. And when I go into my purpose, don't you think that God is going to do exceedingly and abundantly? He's going to be putting me on platforms that I never thought I could be on. And even if he doesn't put me on the platform, he's going to provide for me exceedingly and abundantly above all that I could think or imagine. And so that's why it's always good to seek God first, because all things will be added onto you. There's no reason to stress. And when I say that and I understand that it's better said than done. It's easier said than done. I know I was there at a point where it's like people are telling me, don't worry, God got you. And I'm like, yeah, but the bills is due. The bill is due tomorrow. The bill is past due. The bill is a month or two past due. So is he really going to provide? I had those moments until I realized I'm taking my hands off and I'm letting go and I'm letting God. What does that look like? Understanding, if you are in this moment and you give your life to God, if you give your day to God, just giving your day to God does something, because the Holy Spirit is your helper. He will guide you on what to do on your day to day. Understanding that the resources that you need are going to come to you. I literally just experienced it the other day, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, like, I don't know how this bill is going to get paid. The bill got paid. I got more bills coming up. I'm telling y'all, where I'm doing what I'm doing right now, I don't make that much money, but I've been doing things here and there, just being of service to people. Okay, being of service to people, and God has been providing for me because I have been of service to people. I have opened my heart. I have humbled myself, and God says, if you humble yourself, you will be exalted. But those that exalt themselves will be humbled. I've experienced being exalting myself and being humble, and now I'm in the process of experiencing being humble and therefore being exalted in the process. And it looks different for everyone. Everyone's seasons are different. You may be in your harvest season while I'm in my waiting season. I may be coming out my waiting season and you'll be going into your waiting season. You just never know. And understand, I was looking at something the other day, and it was just talking about seasons. And it's just so beautiful how nature, how much nature coincides with life. If you just really pay attention to how nature works, it really does coincide with life, and how it shows how intentional God is in all his creations. Even in nature, you have winter, spring, summer, and fall. Okay, some places only have one season. Some places have two seasons. Some places have three seasons. Some places have all four seasons, right? And one stage of your life, you may be somebody that may be only experiencing one good season, one long summer hot great season. Then I may go to the next place or be in the next place in life, and I'm experiencing all four seasons. I'm experiencing winter, I'm experiencing fall, I'm experiencing spring, I'm experiencing summer. Understand, winter and fall are always those times where things are going to start falling off. But the beauty of how nature works, if you just understand how nature works, God is not the trees, the grass, all that does not have to put in effort, and which is God's creation. They do not have to put in effort for the leaves to fall off and it to grow again. It doesn't have to put in that effort. It's just a cycle of how their life goes. So understand that even if you're in a season where things are starting to fall off, there will be a season where things are going to be added on to you. It's not going to be a season where it's not going to be a continuous season where things are dying. And you don't think God is going to take you out of that? You don't think God is going to take you out of that, and the trees that don't have to put no effort in die, wilter, fall off, and new things are birthed in the spring and flourish in the summer? Come on now. We have to really think about that. And if you understand that life always will get better, and every trial that you go through creates steadfastness, it creates that firm foundation, it creates that unwavering faith that you need in order to get into the next season, because every season you get tools for the next season, and the next season and next season you're getting stronger and stronger until you get to a point where get to a point, 2 points, because I'm at a point where I understand trials are a part of life and things are going to get better. There's no reason for me to stress about it now if I know that it's going to get better. It is possible to be happy in every season. It's all about how you look at life. And I'm just going to end this off by just talking about how when you get to a season, when God frees you and you really realize that you're free, and who the Son sets free is free indeed. Who the Son sets free is free indeed. So when you get to that point where you're free and you feel your mind is just free, you may be like me, where I feel like there has been things in my life where it has caused me, I have been a generally positive person for probably the last 10 years of my life. I've been a generally positive person. Now, that doesn't mean that I haven't had those moments where I'm like, I don't know how that's going to work, but I'm pretty optimistic. I think I'm an optimistic person. So with that being said, it wasn't always like that. Even through the optimism, I still had this, I'm not feeling the joy that I know I can feel. These people are happy, but how you happy like all the time? Like, that don't make sense. Like, you don't have bad days. And I'm not saying now that I don't have bad days, because I do. I have bad days, but in general, I have the root of joy. Because happiness, means you have to have something. Happiness, joy, that's something that's in your heart. Okay, your heart ain't going nowhere. It's something in your heart. Okay. So my whole life, like literally, I think the age of 9 or 10 is when things started to get a little rough in my life, as far as like the typical daddy issues and just dealing with trauma, and then being a teenager, and then dealing with body image issues. Just all of that was kind of just like the root of those were my roots in life. And even if I had happiness, it had that underlying feeling of, but I'm still dealing with this trauma, and I'm still sad about this, or I'm lonely because of this, or I need a man because of this, or whatever the case may be. And I finally got to that point where I'm like, I'm happy. I genuinely have joy in my life. And that is the underlying thing. And I think sometimes when we're not used to having joy, we will self-sabotage our joy, or let the enemy run rampant, or let negative thoughts run rampant in our minds, for the simple fact that we feel like we have to have something going on. Like, we have to be stressed out. We have to have a struggle. We have to have this. We have to have that. And it's like, you don't have to struggle to be valid in life. And that's another thing the world tells us, is like, if you ain't struggled, everything you went through is invalid. That's not true. That's not true. Even though I feel like I have gone through a struggle. Like, I guess to the world, I would be still struggling as far as financially, but like everything else, I'm content in this life. I'm content in my life. Okay. And you don't have to struggle at all times to have a valid life, or to be happy, or for your happiness to mean something. You your birthright is joy and peace. You don't have to explain your joy to nobody. You don't have to explain why you may be going through a storm but still have a smile on your face. You don't have to explain that, because God is giving you that joy. So don't let those negative thoughts catch up to you. Don't sit and intentionally be like, oh, I haven't thought about that in a while. Let me think about that. And then put yourself in this space where it's like, I haven't felt like this depressed, like this sad moment that I'm always feeling lately. Let me put myself into that moment. And I had to catch myself yesterday, because I really got into this point where, listen, y'all, this is a very transparent moment. Okay. I'm somebody where I feel like I got a lot of love to give. I have a lot of love to give. And I'm at this point where I have to give it to myself. I know I have to give it to myself, but it's like I want to give it to somebody else, like on top of myself. Like, it's like I want to give this love to somebody else. And sometimes I'll be like, God, does this love that I desire even exist? Like, does it exist? Like, can men really be thoughtful? Can men really really just eat the girls down? Like, does that love really exist, or is that just for social media? Like, I really be thinking like, I don't know, maybe I want too much. Maybe that's why it ain't came yet, because it's like, because I need to compromise what I really want. And I think the things that I want are not too much to ask for. Like, they're not too much to ask for. But I got to this moment yesterday where I was really thinking about it, and I was just like, I was going back into my old habits of using food for comfort, drinking a Red Bull. And I was just like, what am I doing? Like, I had to ask myself, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you're not sad. You're not sad. You're happy in your life. You literally have nothing to stress about, because the most thing that I could be stressing about is maybe finances, but there's literally no reason for me to stress about that if I truly believe that God is my provider. So it's like, I have nothing to truly stress about in my life. It's like, at this point, I'm just trying to find something to stress about, because the love of my life, he's coming. He's coming. I know 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 for a fact he's coming. I know that the time is going to come where it's me and the love of my life are really going to be able to love each other down. We're really going to be able to love each other down. And you know, when you feel in your heart like God told you that somebody was that one. I'm getting so off topic, but I feel like, yeah. Yep. Scrum dilly yum yum up her. But you know, we gonna see how it all plays out, because I really truly won't know until the time comes. But yeah, moral of the story, to end this off, you can be happy. You can be content in every season. That is true. That is a real feeling that you can feel. That is a real feeling you can have. And if you don't feel it, pray on it, because God got you. You know he does. But that's all I wanted to say, y'all. As we go into this next week, I think one thing I'm going to let go of is... what do I feel like I need to let go of? I think I need to let go of bad eating habits. I'm going to let go of sweets this week. We're going to let go of sweets, of stuff that I know I don't have no business eating if I'm really trying to live a healthy life. We're going to let go of that. And I'm really going to step into my influencer, my creative bag this week, because I really need to get serious, especially with who God created social media. Follow us on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok, because I post snippets there. So if you don't have an Instagram, definitely go follow me on TikTok. It's Olympshay. It's Olympshay, ITSALEMTSHAY. And on that note, I love you guys, but y'all know Jesus loves you more. Peace, love, and happiness. I will see y'all, and y'all will hear from me next week. Peace.